What's up, boys and girls? It's your boy Swolelax here, back at it again with another video. This time something a little bit different. Today we got a deck profile for you guys today. This is one actually my brother put together. I just kind of wanted to show you it and talk about it for a little bit, but it's a Buster Blader deck. Ain't that cool? Buster Blader got a bunch of new support a while back, and it makes the deck really fun, and it's a little bit slow in Link format. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be up front, but it is still a great time to play. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first card you will have are 3 copies of the Buster Blader, the Buster himself, the kid. Thou shall not sleep on the goat. So this card's essentially just a beater of the deck when you take him at face value, but he's really and primarily used for the effects inside the deck and to get out your big boss dudes from the extra deck. He gets plus 500 attack for each Dragon-type monster opponent's graveyard, so obviously if you're facing off against Kaiba or someone using, Pendulum Magicians, Buster Blader is pretty nuts. So yeah, that's pretty much it. He's a basic beater, basic as hell. We got 3 copies next of Buster Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman and 3 copies of Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. So these 2 little cuties are both Dragon and Tuners. They can help you go into your Synchro plays, and their effects are pretty nuts. So you want to run 3 of each of these because Buster Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman, when he's normal summoned, you can get a Destruction Sword card to your hand, so the other guy here, or any of the spells and traps that you have that support out your fusion dudes or your synchro dudes. And one of these other 2 effects, you can tribute him from the field and special summon a Buster Blader from your hand or graveyard, or if you control a Buster Blader already, then you can discard a card and special summon this card from your graveyard. So that card's that's actually super nuts, and it leads you into all your sorts of plays. And Buster Dragon Destruction Sword helps with the lockdown. So what this deck primarily wants to do is get the Buster Dragon lock, so to speak. And we'll get into that a little bit more with the extra deck monsters. But this dude helps that, was that when he's equipped to a Buster Blader card, then you can, or monster, you can effectively stop opponent from using their extra deck. And then also, when his card's equipped, you can special summon him out for your bigger dudes. So ideally, he's a good defensive card. You want to equip him and say, okay, no, your opponent can't summon extra deck monsters, and then special summon them out on your turn for your plays. Next, I'm running 1 copy of Buster Blader, the Destruction Sword Master. I'm actually curious about cutting this card personally, because it's cool if you need a card to discard, especially for some of the other traps and spells. But ultimately, when I draw into him, I find that I'm not playing that often. But he's still pretty good. Effectively, he's treated as another Buster Blader when he's on the field or in the graveyard. And that's really all about it. Essentially, it's a 4th Buster Blader. Next, we're going to 1 copy of Glow Up Bulb as a tuner to get into your synchro plays. It's kind of generic. Next, we got a Kaiju Engine. We got 1 copy of Humongous, your boy Humongous. 1 copy of Radian. 1 copy of Dagoron, and 1 copy of Thunder King, the Lightning Kaiju. So 3 Kaijus in this deck. It actually helps with a lot with getting rid of boss monsters, obviously. But this deck does have a small Kaiju engine that you can run too. So that's pretty good. I like it. Next, we're in 2 copies of your girl Snoger. Hand traps are nuts. What can I say? Y'all probably already know the legendary of Snoger. This card's good. 2 of those. Next, 1 copy of the 4th God card, Max C. And that's going to round out all your monsters. So next, we're getting to the spell cards of this deck. We're running 3 copies of Destruction Swordsman Fusion. This card is absolutely insane. Being a quick play spell, you can set it on your turn and special some of your dudes out from the field. But what this allows you to do is take monsters from either side of the field and fusion summon your big boss monster guy, which is important for the Buster Dragon lock if you do choose so, or if you have Buster Dragon on the field, what have you. So this card is absolutely insane, and it also recycles itself back from the graveyard. So 3 of those for sure. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars to kind of generate some draw power and some value, but banishing your Buster Blader cards you don't necessarily need anymore. Then I'm running 2 copies of Twin Twisters. It's just a good back row removal, and it helps synergize in the deck by getting stuff to the graveyard, yada, yada, yada. It's a good card, 2 of those. Then I'm only running 1 of Emblem of the Dragon Destroyer. This card here allows you to get a Buster Blader card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Simple, no cost, free. Next, I'm running 1 copy of Upstart Goblin and 1 copy of One Day of Peace as some extra draw power and a slight extra protection. Then I'm running 1 copy of 1 for 1. There's a lot of 1-ofs in this deck, but 1 for 1 allows you to go into your synchro plays and also gets you out your Buster Whelps and Buster Dragon Sword dudes. Then I'm running 1 copy of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber as your kind of Regeki, but also helps flow into your Kaiju engine. So one of those. And that's going to be it. A lot of one-ofs and spells kind of here and there, but they're all really good. Next, we're going to the trap cards that I actually find pretty interesting. We have 3 copies of Destruction Sword Memories. This card, what it allows you to do is discard a Destruction Sword card and then special summon a Buster Blader monster from your deck. But also, you can banish this card from your graveyard and fusion materials to get out your big boss monster guy. So that's actually really important because that allows you to kind of spring that effect almost any time, which is insanely good. So 3 of those for sure. Next, I'm running 3 copies of Prologue of the Destruction Swordsman. This card helps you get into Buster Dragon. Unfortunately, it's destroyed by the end phase. Doesn't really matter too much because you can usually combo it, yada yada. But in addition to that, if this card's in your graveyard, you can banish this card, and then your Destruction Sword cards you control can't be destroyed by battle or card effects that turn. So that's actually pretty nice, and it allows you to protect your guys that you needed. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Destruction Sword Blast. This card banishes your opponent's monsters if you control your big Buster Blader boss monster fusion dude and Knuckles. So this card is also really good for that, and it helps that if a card or a card effect that targets one of your Destruction Sword cards, you can activate, you can negate the effect and destroy the card. So 2 of those I recommend. They're not super, it's not that good right now at 3 because I find that you could draw into it and be kind of bricky, but 2 of those is good. And finally, I'm running 2 copies of Storming Mirror Forces to kind of round out some extra coverage for this deck, and I like the card. So 2 of those for sure. And now, finally, on to the extra deck, which is possibly the most important part of the deck, necessarily. But we're running 1 copy of Decode Talker. So as I said, this deck was made before Links, and it's a lot of fun. I think it's really good to play, but Decode Talker kind of helps get you that Dragon Buster lock that you can get down. We'll explain that in a little bit. So 1 copy of Decode Talker. Next, we're running your Synchro Monsters, 1 copy of Crimson Blader, 1 copy of Void Ogre Dragon, 1 copy of Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, 1 copy of this card that's just so hot right now. It's Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss, and then 2 copies of Buster Dragon. So Buster Dragon, it allows you to change your opponent's monster attribute to Dragon type, which allows you to go into great combos with the Destruction Sword card we're talking about that banishes cards and special summons out in the field, yada yada. And it's 1 part of the Buster Blader Dragon lock, so to speak. So we'll get into that again, but that's a really good card there. And finally, 1 copy of Belize of the Dragonic, of the Diabolic Dragon. This card is nuts, and God help you if you see this against you in play. Next, XYZs, we got 2 copies of number 22 Zombie Stein. You probably won't be running this card, or especially on this card too often, but it's there for coverage. 1 copy of Big Eye, and 1 copy of Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. But Flare Metal Dragon is actually a pretty good sleeper card in this deck. I find that it's fun to play, and it can lead to some interesting interactions. So, those cards right there. And finally, you've been waiting for the big bad dude himself, Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Sword. And this card is so anime it hurts. But it's actually really good. So it gains 1,000 attack and defense for each Dragon-type monster your opponent controls or in the graveyard, so that's already good. It changes all Dragon-type monsters your opponent controls to defense position, and it does piercing damage, and it negates the effects of dragons that they would activate. That's absolutely crazy. Unfortunately, it can't attack directly, but still, this card's nuts. And it's really easy to summon out in this deck. I'm only running 2. You could run 3, I don't really know. But 2 of those are really good, and I like them a lot. Now, let me explain something to you guys that previously would happen. So in Master Rule 3, I believe, what you'd be able to do, summon out Destruction Swordsman and get Buster Dragon onto the field, and this would create the Buster Dragon lock, which Buster Dragon, since it makes all your opponent's monsters Dragon type, would then force Buster Blader, not force Buster Blader, but it would allow Buster Blader to put all the dragons in defense position that couldn't activate their effects, and he does piercing damage, yada yada. But now, because of links, you can only have 1 at a time. But if you are able to get Decode Talker out, then special summon Buster Dragon, and then special summon Dragon Swordsman or whatever, have only 2, then you can successfully do your lock now. So, and it's not that hard necessarily to get this combo, but it does slow down the deck a little bit in that regard. That being said, Buster Dragon of the Destroyer Swordsman anime, blah, 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 is still really, really good despite of it. And this deck's a lot of fun to play still. So, yeah, that's really about it. Yeah, I don't know. How do you guys like the deck? Let me know what you guys think of it. I think this deck's really cool and a lot of fun to play. I can understand why it's a lot slower than it used to be. Links definitely hurt this deck. but I still believe you can have a lot of fun playing it. Yeah, you can be really cool combos, and it's just sick seeing the Buster out again. Of course, any of your Dragon matchups or Blue Eyes matchups will get annihilate. Whatever, I messed up that joke. That's all I gotta say. Peace out.